Welcome to another episode of Athlete Things, and today we are delighted to have Calle Johansson, the 74 kilo world champ from this year's championships in Malta, join us today. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. Doing good, doing good.
Yeah, man, you've had a huge year, right? So first world champs, open world champs as a junior, came out with the win. I guess over the last few months, like what's training, what's life been like as the world champ?
There's uh, there's been a lot going on. It's like right after the win happened, there was like a lot of doors opening for me, like in terms of sponsorships, business things. For example, I'm planning on starting to do public speaking, and that wasn't really like something I was like had the opportunity to do before. But now, like after the first Open Worlds win, I sort of have like my, you know, that story I wanted to like give to people. I can do now. So yeah, it's a lot happening, a lot of new followers, um, and it's kind of weird because in my head I'm still like the same dude, but I've noticed that some people view me like kind of different now, which is like quite odd, but yeah, I guess you get used to it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, man. Well, like,
What's the follow account look like since you won worlds? Was there a period of time where you just saw it like keep going like up and up?
Yeah. I think like before Worlds, I was at like slightly under 7K or like right at 7K. Now I'm almost at 24K.
damn.
That's
So
crazy.
that's pretty wild. Um, but obviously, I mean, like after August, I think it started to like not die out, but it's not like the same type of curve like it was before. But I'm still gaining followers, so that's nice.
Nothing like the old Athlete Things podcast. Get that ticking over again, brother.
Yeah. Gotta
And
chase the cloud.
some warm up for your public speaking, man. What an opportunity right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, we want to dive into Malta first because obviously like that paints a pretty big backdrop for what you have coming up now, like within the next year. So obviously,
Mm.
I guess the biggest difference, from this past year for you, we can kind of see is that into that open world championships, all of a sudden there's that hype. You got podcasts, King of the Lifts, there's the big 74 kilo battle. So I guess if we go kind of right back, how did you, I guess, manage your expectations and dealing with the pressure that comes with that hype? And how is it kind of different to what you've experienced before, like in training and day to day?
I mean, I always try to go into a competition just to focus on what I'm able to control and just letting go of all the outside factors. For example, I can't control what Taylor did, like at the competition. Like, for example, I didn't really know how I was placed, like until my second deadlift. I had no idea what anyone did. So I just like to focus on what I do, like what I can control, because that's the only thing that matters, right? The rest for me is like it's up to God. What like um I'm destined to like reach certain places, and outside factors doesn't really matter to me. Like as long as I control what I can control, I will be good. So that's always my mindset when I go into competitions. But of course, I mean, you still feel nervous. You can still feel the pressure, but it's about, to me, it's about what you do with those types of feelings and how you handle them. I mean, of course, they will be there because at the end of the day, I'm still a competitor. I care about my results, and obviously, my competitors can affect my results. Um, but I just try to view it as outside factors and not really put so much energy and effort into that part. Just focus on training and my execution.
Mm. Yeah, it's really good. So like, I guess what was the theme then in that preparation? Was it more that you were just kind of head down, hard work? Like, were you looking at kind of everyone else's lifts, like in the lead up? Like we had, for example, Nat Richards on 57 champ, and she like just straight up, muted everyone on social media, like in the lead up to Worlds, and just got to work,
Yeah.
right, and rocked up there on the day. So yeah, was that kind of the same theme for you then, like in training, just head down?
Yeah, I mean, I still like watched if Tim posted something, it wasn't like if I would just scroll past it. I still watched it, but it was sort of like, oh yeah, that's nice, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it. Yeah, I don't really like to pay too much attention to what other does because I can't really control them.
I'm curious about your mentality, right? Like, there's not a lot of things you can control except for your own execution. Was
Mm.
that something that kind of developed on its own, especially early on? Because, like, I mean, you've gone through multiple world championships at this point, right? Like, you've gone through your junior career and now you're in the opens doing the same thing. Was there a certain point where it was like that kind of, was like, was there a big switch,
Sorry,
or
I couldn't really hear
how did
you
things
there.
go to get to this point we're at now?
Could you repeat the last part? I couldn't really hear what you said.
I think he just asked if there was like a big switch in your mentality between like where you were previously as like a junior and everything you'd done before that, and then
Yeah.
coming into Malta as well.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. I mean, at the start of my career, I was sort of like a nervous wreck. Like at heart, I'm a very like stress sensitive person.
Yeah.
And after I think it was my first Open Nationals I think it was 2019. I might be wrong on the day, but yeah, I think it was 2019. I had a horrible competition. I mean, I was in great physical form, but the thing that hindered me was my mental state. I didn't really believe in myself, and I just let all my feelings of nervousness and anxiousness over the future like uh, take over my execution, and like just hindered me for the day. And after that competition, I felt like I never want to feel like this again because I know I have the physical abilities. I just need to like control the mental part. So after that, I reached out to a therapist, and I started to work with her. And after a couple of sessions, she introduced meditation for me, and that has been a like super big influence on my like how I handle life situations and also how I handle competitions, like how to handle the pressure. And what I've learned with meditation is that, I mean, the only thing that you can control is yourself. Like you can't control other people. Those are outside factors. For example, where I compete, what time I compete, when the weigh-ins will be. Those are factors that I am not able to control. So the best thing that I can do with those outside factors is just to let them go, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, I believe in God, and I know that whatever happens outside of my own control is, well, his doings. And I know that life doesn't really like certain things in life doesn't happen just for you to, feel like shit. They happen so that you can learn about yourself and just develop as a human being. So I just try to view that as outside factors. Just try to view as uh, things to learn about myself, if that's like a good answer. So in short, it was meditation, and through meditation, I've learned how to handle my feelings.
I think that's also such like a big thing, especially for your age, that maturity level for you to be able to acknowledge that you needed to reach out to someone and speak to someone as well. And then, still being a junior right this year. So because you were going to do junior worlds as well, I remember. Still being a junior this year, obviously younger than the rest of the field, but you are so much more mature, just as mature as everyone else because of all these things that you've done outside of that, just to work on yourself as well. I could see that.
I mean, I don't think I would have. I mean, the things I've gone through, like during this short period of time that I've been on Earth, I've learned a lot and I've gone through a lot, and I think that everything that I've gone through, like negative and good, has led me up to this moment where I'm at right now. And I think that if I wouldn't have gone through the type of adversity that I went through, and if I didn't learn about like meditation, I mean, maybe I would have been like as like physically strong, but I don't think I would have been as mentally strong. And I think that that mental strength really separated me like on the day, and that's why I was able to take home the win.
Yeah, you could almost
'Cause
see
I-
that too. Just like your ability to kind of control your emotions until the job was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. it was-
I don't really like to take out things like in beforehand. For example, that's why I don't really like to, you know, talk shit before competitions, because I mean, then I'm talking about stuff that hasn't really happened yet, and that's not stuff that I've been able to control. So why should I talk about it when that hasn't really happened yet?
Yeah.
So it's always about, you know, controlling your own stuff so you can, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point that you bring up meditation. Like, I think with a lot of our guests, we haven't really spoken about like that mental side of things, right? And with meditation, and I guess it'll link to things that you've posted in the past where, you know, you've mentioned like, I remember someone asked you something on a story saying like, what are you focusing on in order to win? And you're like, I'm not focusing on the end product or the outcome. I'm just focusing on devoting myself to this very moment. And it's almost treated like a religion. And I think it's super important because like powerlifting is always going to be ups and downs, right? And so if you're always planning for the future, you're, I guess, borrowing anxiety and negative emotions from the future, and it's not going to do you any good. So
no, because you're reaching
super
for
powerful.
stuff. Yeah, and because if you do that, you're reaching for stuff that you're not really able to reach right now. I read this book like 6 months ago. It's called Zen in the Art of Archery, and what the book is about, it's sort of about, in order to reach your goals, you have like somewhere along the way you have to let them go and just focus on what you're able to control right here and right now, and just worship the thing that you're doing with all like 100% intensity and just all your efforts, and whatever happens is supposed to happen. Like, you may have this goal, but you can't really control when it will happen. So just focus on what you can do here and now, and the thing that you want to reach will happen eventually, but you don't know when, right? You just gotta let time and fate just have its thing with you and just control what you can do.
Yeah,
It's interesting, like, you know, we've spoken about both these things right now in terms of like the mindset, and then like what you said there, just that devotion. There's actually two words that I'm really gluing myself to at the moment with my training since kind of getting back into it in the lead up to my next competition, and that's like belief and intent. So like I'm finding I'm just saying these two words like before I get on the bar or right before I, you know, hit my next set, and that's belief and it's intent. I've got to believe that this weight, this next set is going to move. I've got to believe that I'm strong. I've got to believe I can do X, Y, Z. And then in that moment, I've got to give it 100, 110% intent. Yes. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So I think in terms of, to sum that up, like, it's just, yeah, it's really cool to hear both those sides, because that's two things that I'm really gluing myself to at the moment. And I'm finding a lot of success just in like every single training session. Just to kind of focus in, like, it just focus in on like each session, but then also like, you know, that bigger picture too, in terms of where we're going as well.
Yeah, I think like I want to add in on your point as well, Sam. Like, I think I've been in a very similar headspace recently, because as Steve knows, like my shoulder's kind of a bit hurt, haven't really been benching properly. But what that's done for me is like, I used to think so far ahead, like we've got a prep for me coming up in like 3 weeks, right? So I'm like, I used to think, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, is it going to feel good by meet day? This, that. And funny that you bring up meditation, Carl, because like I started leaning very heavily into that and just focusing on the moment and just, I guess, like giving up the outcome completely. So it's like, now I'm at a point where it's like, right, if that's not happening, all I can focusing all I can focus in on is like how the bar feels, what it feels like to just take a step up to the bar. And it just gets to like very bare sensations, right? And like, I guess as long as we're replacing all those negative thoughts with something else that's at least neutral, positive. I mean, when you go through adversity, which is going to be inevitable, at least you're going to be in a better spot when you come out of it, because that's always going to be impermanent as well.
Yeah, I mean, nothing happens for like without a reason, you know. So you just gotta treat all like everything that happens to you in life, whether it's good or bad, just treat it as like a life lesson. You know, it's another step for you to reach the end goal, or like the person you're destined to be. Like everything before that, like happens for you to reach that certain destination.
Yeah, man. I think I wanna take a different approach with this as well, because looking at a post that you put up, you've got all these like different motivators, right? You've got the competitive aspect where results do matter, but you also acknowledge all you can really control is yourself. And you've also got this like intrinsic part where powerlifting for you has been this, I guess, like purpose-driven thing for you, right? Like it's given you purpose in your life. So how important has it been for you when you're going through rough patches to, I guess, like switch up what's the thing that you're pulling from, like the well of motivation?
Can you do the question again?
So you've got all these things that you can pull from. You've got competition, you've got where you used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. And like in the future, things are always going to happen. So on your day-to-day, like how often are you juggling like where you're pulling from?
Oh, yeah, it's from period to period. Like for example, right now, Sheffield is a huge motivator for me because I mean, after Worlds, there was of course a lot of people like, you know, congratulating me on being the champ and stuff. There was also a lot of people, you know, discussing that, you know, oh, yeah, he won because Taylor had a bad day, or this guy from the USAPL that has a much bigger total than him, and yeah. So to me right now, I just want to prove to people that, you know, I am the champ, and that it doesn't really matter who I face. I will always try to like end up on top. So yeah, right now I just want to prove to people that I'm not just someone who wins when another guy has a bad day. I will always like win. So yeah, that's a big motivator for me right now.
You see that, like, I watch a lot of UFC, and like there's always this talk around, like, you know, when someone becomes a champ, they're not the champ until they defend the belt, right? Like, I guess with, you know, UFC, it's like it's that whole element of it only takes one punch, right? And then with powerlifting, it's like people miss, people don't show up, shit happens on all across all three lifts. So I guess there, like you said, is there that element where you feel like you need to prove that you're the champion by claiming it a second time? Or do you feel like you are the champ, you're deserving, and you're just going to prove them wrong again?
Yeah, it's more like the first one. You know, I really want to prove that, you know, I want to put my foot down and really show that, you know, I am who I am, and it doesn't matter who comes over. I will like, I'm still the champ, you know. So yeah, and I want to like put off a total that really like shows that. So yeah, but we'll see by February.
I think we were discussing it, right? And I mean, listening to King of the Lifts podcasts, we're kind of hearing both sides on it with Austin Perkins coming up, right? Like that's who we're mentioning, who's coming over.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're still going on this upwards trajectory, which is crazy to see, right? Like since like 2 years, like your total has been going up and up and up. So by the time you guys face off at Worlds, you're going to be a completely different athlete come Worlds compared to who you were in Malta.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm really amped for next Worlds. It will be so fun to like, go head to head with him. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. I think like I mean, aside from meditation aside, like considering what's been popping up in the media, has
Yeah.
any like chit chat been, kind of motivating you?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Of course. I mean, when I saw him like doing the 851 was like, oh shit, that's that's really impressive. But it wasn't really like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose to him next year. It was sort of like, well, if he can do it, then why can't anyone else do it?
Mhm.
He's shown that it's humanly possible, so why can't I reach that level too, or go even beyond?
Is that
It's
motivating
like,
you as well, Steve?
Yeah, well, it was like the same when Taylor hit 838. I think we all were like, okay, so it's possible, it's achievable. Like,
Yeah,
and Perkins was going over 800 back then too, so we all knew that 800 is something achievable. Like, obviously, no one's done it in an IPF sanctioned meet, but it is something that we can all do, and they've proven that. So I'm the same. I believe
yeah.
it's doable, and like the confidence that you have as well at such a young age is amazing too.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because there's two ways you could go about it. You could see it and be like, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And I guess like that's gonna fill up the rest of the future, like, fuck, what's gonna happen, right? Whereas you could take this
Yeah.
approach where it's like, look what's possible. I can also do the same. And you guys are almost in the same boat. And whatever happens on the platform is like, win or lose, you're gonna hit something that's disgusting as well.
Mm. Yeah, I really feel like I'm destined to do this. So, I mean, I felt the same sort of the same way before like Malta. I mean, although I really try to control on what I'm supposed to do, of course, you still feel like these types of nerves, especially when you do your first open worlds and you go head to head with Taylor, like everyone's favorite. But I sort of had this feeling like beforehand that I think this will turn out in my favor, and I sort of have the same feeling in before this upcoming worlds. So I just gotta trust my gut feeling and see where that takes me. But I mean, so far it's taking me like to where I'm at right now. So just gotta keep doing that.
It's almost like that that saying where like the underdog's always going to work harder than someone that's already at the top, and it's like you're at the top, you're world champion, but you're still going to be considered the underdog because of what everyone else
Oh
done.
yeah,
Before
yeah,
Malta you had
100%.
Taylor, and now we've got Perkins, so it's like they're looking
Yeah,
past you, right? And you need to stamp
yeah,
your authority.
yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. Um, yeah, I mean, I as long as I could keep doing me, and as long as I stay like 100% genuine with what my intentions are, then I mean, the outcome will be what it's supposed to be. That's how I always feel. Like as long as I do it for like with the right intention, then I'll be good.
it's crazy, yeah, because like again, more UFC comparisons, but it's like I see the 74 division as like bantamweight or lightweight. It's just stacked. Like it's everyone's good, and you've got to be good everywhere,
Yeah.
right? Like you got to be good on squat, you got to be good on bench, you got to be good on deadlift. Like there's none of this like kind of one lift kind of masters. You just got to be good everywhere, right? And then I guess in your case now you've had this like shoot right to the top, and then you're just backing up against killers year after year. So
Yeah.
it's awesome, man. I guess like with that, if we look back on like, the success of the last year with, using meditation as a powerful tool, I guess, what are some things, over the past year that you've probably learned from for future competitions that you can do better? Or like, is there any areas where like that have really stuck out to you as like areas to improve?
Yeah, like for example, after Worlds, I've started working with my nutritionist, but on a like whole time. Before Worlds, I always just used to do it for like cutting protocol. So maybe we started working together for like maybe 6 weeks out just to diet down a bit and then cut from there. But after like just being at Worlds and seeing how jacked all these 74s are, I realized that I had to take my. I mean, I thought I took my nutrition serious beforehand, but after seeing those guys, it was like, no, I have to really like step up. So yeah, right now I'm working with Paige Myers like on a week-to-week basis. It feels like I've recomped like tremendous amount, and that has also affected my results in the gym very like positively. So yeah, like right now I'm just trying to treat my life as one long training camp. I mean, I live 2 minutes from the gym where I work at and train at as well. Um, I'm really in my like little bubble all the time, and everything is just, revolving around like my performance in the gym, and just, making sure that I have all these outside factors in check, so that when I step into the gym, I know that I've put 100% into all these other factors. So now I can have like the best session possible.
Yeah. You're in the most optimal position to be, and all you need to do now is just live it for like, where are we now? October, November, December, January, February, 4 months, and then you've got Sheffield.
Yeah. Just gotta live it 100% intention all the time. I love it.
Yeah, man, we can see it in your face. It's just lighting you up.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's very like,
sorry, you go.
sorry. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's a very like mundane type of lifestyle where it's like, I don't know if mundane is the right word, but it's like very monotone. It's like same thing day in, day out. But it's something beautiful in doing something like repeating it over and over and over again, and just trying to perfect these like small little details. Like, oh, if I go to sleep at this time, maybe I wake up here and I feel more rested. If I, for example, close out my phone like 1 hour before going to bed, I will sleep better, stress less. And just finding these small details all the time, and just, perfecting your craft outside of the gym. So when you step into the gym, you can perfect that craft even more. So it's really fun that, you think you have everything dialed down until you like find another like rabbit hole to go through.
Yeah. What's a little thing that you've picked up just recently that's been like, holy shit, this is a game changer?
I can easily like get stuck on Instagram, so I'm just trying to like keep my time on the phone down, making sure to take walks out in nature. I live very close to like big woods, so I just try to take walks every now and then, get my steps in, making sure that I have like the exact same amount of fluids every day. Like for example, I try to get down 4 liters of water a day, get like between 5,000 and 7,000 steps a day. Just small stuff to increase like or to make my recovery better.
The steps have been crazy for me, man, over the past like 8 weeks. I used to be as soon as I went to like online coach life and just started like sitting down at a desk or like on the couch all day, my steps just went through the roof. And I used to see that like as like rest, like Sunday I'd just be on the couch like all day, like thinking I was like resting my body and going to feel better. But like looking back at it now, you're like, where I'm hitting like 10 to 12,000 steps a day, also for like body composition purposes as well. But like I feel so much better coming into a Monday now, training wise, just because I've been like moving more. And that's like, a 40-minute, 50-minute, 60-minute walk a day. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta treat like all the stuff outside of the gym is at least like as, or not even if more important than just the training, because I mean, all the other like, for example, like 19 hours I like rest of the day when you're outside of the gym, those count just as much as what you're doing inside of the gym.
Did you just say you train for 5 hours?
No, okay, no, that was okay. Maybe sorry, I maybe train like 3 hours. No, so Yeah, my math was quite off there. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. I'm just messing with you. So if we like flash forward to Sheffield, then obviously that's the main goal, right? These next however many months, it's just full steam ahead. If we look at Sheffield, then I guess in your case it's quite like even more exciting because you do have a little bit of a rematch with Tim again, who's going to be there.
Yeah.
Is that playing into any part in terms of the overall goals of Sheffield for you? Are you seeing Sheffield as a bigger picture, or are you seeing it as like, you've got the 74s, little side mission, and then you're on to Worlds?
I mean, for Sheffield, I just want to, I want to blow up way like into the 800s. That's my goal. Break a deadlift world record again, of course. Breaking the total record, and yeah, we'll see how far that takes me. And I mean, it would be nice to win, but again, we've just got to see what the other guys do. I mean, Anatoly's a beast, Jesus is a beast, Keiko's a beast. So, and obviously Tim, we don't like his training is going great. So I'm really looking forward to meeting him again.
Yeah, the format's really different as well, right? Like I think we've had previous Sheffield participants on. We had Evie Corrigan, we had Carlina, and they were mentioning like the vibe of being at that competition is just different to Worlds. It doesn't feel so much so like a head-to-head rather than just like going as hard as you can and just trying to blow the records up. So it's a bit different, right? I guess like when you're at Worlds, it's like you just need to pick the exact thing to pull to win versus going here and just loading up the 400 that you had picked at Malta, right?
Yeah. I don't think we'll see 400 just yet, but yeah, slightly less.
All right, cool, man. Well, I think that'll wrap it up for us, dude. Thanks so much for coming on. We're really excited to see, how the next year unfolds for you. Obviously, Sheffield, back-to-back, World Championships again, defend that title against, like I said, a stacked weight class. So we wish you all the best for your training, man, in the future. And we can't wait to see you kill it.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Easy. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.